You can't prosecute these prosecutors for malicious prosecution. Michael Frank, crooked bastard, he was involved in every one of those incidents and yours too. This is now up to 40 different cases he has manipulated unlawfully to cover schemes for a criminal racketeering scheme done under color of law. And for whatever reason, people like it. Here's the crazy part. I was talking to an old school guy that helped out some criminals, politicians years back. And he challenged me. He said, Ted, he says, you tell me everyone that you don't like, and I'll tell you why I like them. You tell me which one you do like, and I'll tell you why you should. I said, well, what does that mean? He said, all these crooked politicians have to do something for someone. They all are liked by somebody. They got to get the votes. But they're running roughshod over the people. It's clear as can be. But once they all start operating in collusion, Larry Birch calls it cohesion. Larry Birch went into a deposition on my case and threw the case. He was the investigator that didn't investigate it and told them, in essence, they didn't have a case. They buried that deposition, which was Brady information, exculpatory data that would have released me and everything about it. But then they realized they were in too deep. So they all piled on. That was at the county level, the circuit level, and at the federal level. They all partied to conceal the fact the investigator said they didn't have a dog in the fight. They're crooked as hell. But they continue because there's no one you can report it to. I am telling you, the Florida Department of Law Enforcement is crooked and in on it.
I sent emails to the Attorney General, the state of Florida. They refer you with a blanket email that refers you back to the FDLE. The Sheriff's Department is a self-governing entity. And that's the way it's designed, from what my understanding.
Have you ever heard of the 231 corridor?
Yes. I live on it.
No, but the 231 corridor, they're from Panama City all the way up 231. There's just a criminal trafficking corridor, human trafficking, drugs, and everything else.
Live a mile and a quarter
right,
off of
but the thing is, there's just a lot of dirty stuff that happens along that corridor. The thing is, law enforcement are doing their own. They're using the 231 corridor. I mean, they're all criminals. The criminals are criminals, and the law appears criminal, isn't it?
I can say not one fingerprint in 4 years.
What?
Not one fingerprint in 4 years.
What do you mean?
My home.
What do you explain? I mean, you can't throw out a random phrase.
I'm just saying, in 4 years, nobody takes fingerprints. As a matter of fact, the last deputy that was there, his exact words were not taking fingerprints tonight.
So there's no real investigation.
Nothing.
Your vehicle's broken into?
Vehicle's stolen for a week.
Stolen and returned.
Stolen and returned. I was told to just be thankful I got it back.
Here's something I heard. I heard somebody saying, I forget, that someone went in your closet and stole your clothes?
Yes, it's not funny.
I mean,
it's not funny.
They stole your clothes.
Many occasions.
Okay. But I've also heard that they not only stolen clothes, but they put other clothes in there.
Yes.
Now, they went into your home, stole clothes out of your closet.
Wash in my washer.
But they stole your washing clothes, the clothes in process. But they're also putting men's clothes in. And you contact the sheriff's department and said, there's a man's clothes in my closet and my clothes are missing. What did they tell you to do?
Told me to chunk some glasses away that were prescription glasses, Don't you want to pick them up? No. Throw them away.
Just throw the
Throw
clothes.
the evidence away.
Throw the, okay. I reported a meth lab one time that was found by someone that was assisting me on the property, and I asked him, I said, how do you know what this is? And he had to explain to me that he knew, and I didn't know what it was. He identified it. Anyway, I sent him away and said, law enforcement, come out here and check this out. I found this on my property and all this. And it took a long time to get anyone out there. No one was interested. When they did show up, they sent an officer out and said, look, this is how you dispose of a meth lab. And I'm like, well, what's the point? He said, well, we don't have it operational here, so here's what you do. He says, fill up the septic tank, chop up everything you found, the evidence and everything, put it in the septic tank, and call the septic tank pumper. Have the septic tank pumper pump out the septic tank because he's got a hazmat certificate. And then he'll take it away and do whatever he does with the hazardous material. Otherwise, you've got a hazmat situation on your hands. And I'm like going, I want a record this took place. I want something done about this. And he's like going, well, it'll cause a lot of problems. Why don't you just go ahead and dispose of, just get rid of this stuff. So anyway, so I was like going, that's what we need to do. He said, yeah, just put it in the septic tank, chop it up, mix it up. He'll come and he'll take it away, and then it's over. I said, okay. I mean, if that's what y'all want me to do. So I did that. I hate to admit it, but I did. Under their instruction. There's probably no record because they're crooked bastards. The guy who helped me identify what it was saw me the next day, or spoke to me the next day, and said, what'd you do? And I said, well, this is what I did. He says, well, now they've got you for obstruction and for tampering with evidence. He says, now you're party to the crime, and they'll come back and they'll frame you later, which in fact developed, and they tried to do that. It's crooked at a whole host of levels where people are just trying to get service. I mean, trying to get, kind of abandoned property. Haven't been here a while, something's going on here, and they conceal them. I found out later that someone from the sheriff's department was actually involved in the lab because it appears they're producing and distributing dope. Does that surprise you?
No.
You seem unmoved. I'm throwing out bizarre concepts of law enforcement and drug distribution, and you seem unmoved. I actually reported to one officer that there was drugs being distributed in the jail, and he didn't move. He was unmoved as well. Ultimately admitting that he knew they all knew. Now here's something funny, and this is some of you. It's one of the 33. Let's call him number 34. There was number 34 that you don't know about, probably. There was a young man that was framed in these type crimes, potentially by westr. He went to jail. They had nothing on him. They did this squeeze play. They held him and they threatened him, held him and threatened him, held him and threatened him. And he revealed this to me before he was terminated. He was in jail, and they kept making him offers. And finally, according to his story, that he decided he was going to take the next offer they gave him. Just tired of this. And I think that's what they do. They hold people until they say, screw it, I'm just going to take the deal, time served, and I'm just getting out of here. I got to get out of here because it's not a good situation. And the guy didn't seem to be very bright. I'll give him that. They pick on people that are impaired, and this guy was impaired. He was not sharp. So he makes the plan. They're going to make me an offer next week. I'm going to take whatever the deal is. I'm going to take it. I just got to go. Just before this happened, he gets a bunkmate in jail that has just a pocket full of dope inside. And these two knuckleheads apparently start ingesting methamphetamines in jail. Just before he gets out and they give him a day and a half, 2 days to walk around or something. And then his probation officer piss tests him and finds the dope that he got while he was in jail. Gave him enough time so it looked like he did something unlawful on the way out. I think it's stupid. It's stupid for people to accept jail dope. It's a setup. Because it's my understanding the guy who provided the dope works for them, sets people up, people that they can't actually try, and then they corrupt them, and as soon as they get out on the first good deal, they get returned within 2 days on a bad piss test, and they can't beat that one. Not only can they not beat that one, the first one, which was a setup, appears accurate.
Well,
This guy, hang on, before it's all over, the stress and duress, this guy, they claim that he committed suicide. He died. He died through undue pressure of someone that's mentally impaired through this racketeering criminal scheme. This is repeat. They continue to do this over and over and over again. The people, for 150 years, they've been manipulating mental patients out of Chattahoochee, manipulating people through Dozier School for Boys, and there's a community there that uses this technique. Welcome, my name is Ted Whidden. I clearly need your help in reaching others. Your civil liberties are in jeopardy. Others need to know. Tell them. Watch to the end and share with your friends as if your life and freedom depends on it, because it may. It was demonstrated in Florida criminal court that Deputy Zachary Westr of Jackson County Sheriff Department in Marianna, Florida, was found guilty at trial of planting drugs in the cars of citizens at numerous traffic stops. Westr used the unconstitutional technique of proactive patrolling to initiate a search following a stop for a fabricated cause in the Teresa Odom stop. The taillight Westr claimed was faulty worked fine. The cause for the stop did not properly exist. The escalation for the search was without reason. The corrupt officer used proactive patrolling techniques to unlawfully access the personal property to commit a crime. This unconstitutional police technique is often used to strip persons of their personal property rights, and is often in violation of the U.S. Constitution, Fourth Amendment rights for search and seizure. Westr's violation of constitutional rights facilitated crimes by law enforcement and the judiciary that continue to unfold. I find reason to believe this racketeering scheme and cover-up extend all the way to and through the federal judiciary. The federal judiciary and court system is corrupt beyond measure, as you may soon see. The news media to this point has missed the biggest crime of all. Those who partner with Western have dodged responsibility, yet common sense would tell you there is no way he operated alone. In this series of open mic interviews, we reveal accomplices and accomplice angles to include judges, prosecutors, defenders, attorneys, and others involved in racketeering and protection racket crimes. Understand, in a RICO crime, each individual is guilty for each event of the organization. Wester's crimes and the cover-up involves many people. Our interview begins with a hidden camera discussion with Teresa Odom, whose traffic stop video helped expose Zachary Westr. You might recall Teresa was the lady in the small white truck, see the video link, in which Westr concealed the drugs in his left glove, moved the drugs about the vehicle until his crime of fraud was perfected, and she was charged, incarcerated, and convicted of drugs by Westr's accomplice, the prosecutor. Understand, the prosecutor's office was a partner in the crimes and took measures to avoid being entangled. The state attorney and others in Panama City, Florida, routinely partner crimes with law enforcement by tampering of evidence and records. Yet the governor of Florida fires prosecutors for not following his rules. But what about those committing crimes of malicious prosecution and tampering of public records? Watch and see what unfolds in these 100+ interviews. The governor's office and that of Inspector General appear to be covering color of law crimes in the northern Florida districts and presumably elsewhere. It is criminal RICO facilitating. The government has gone rogue and law enforcement is operating as organized crime. Folks must realize their civil rights are gone. Links in the description below will be added to reveal associated crimes. If you do not see the links, remind me in the comments and I will post the links. Share with a friend quickly because the retaliation by the state, law enforcement, and their associated criminal partners is anticipated. This will likely become large enough to involve the governor's office. Share with everyone you know. Folks, we are taking great risk here to bring you some rather colorful deceptions from the hoax judicial process you depend on for your civil rights. We need some real-life superheroes to share this presentation at a high level with deep commitment. We want you to be a part of the judicial revolution coming soon. Help us to help you. Share this with the brightest people you know. This is a modern David and Goliath saga. The uncircumcised Philistines will be exposed. The federal judiciary has been weaponized to oppose the nation they serve. Widespread fraud in judicial proceedings are being used to mask a host of judicial racketeering schemes, including schemes by sitting judges committing frauds to conceal motions to impeach the judge and court officers for corruption and offenses. Frauds to suppress material evidence recur often. The lawyers of this nation operating in failure mode are undermining the destruction of this nation. Look at Congress and the Senate, full of lawyers doing what exactly? Attorneys in this country will not risk their career to expose the ongoing repetitive fraud and criminal racketeering by judges and the judiciary. My law career as an attorney, in fact, appears nearing its end. It appears I have nothing to lose. All forms of collaboration opportunities on this project will be entertained. Subscribe and share this video to receive notice and access to the uncut versions as they come available. We have many opportunities to partner and win. Thank you for your patience and participation in advance. There is something for everyone here. Pray for our success. Feel free to create short TikTok loops from this video and share with the world. Post your TikTok loop below below the original video for extra traffic and subscribe to receive a special access offer. TikTok loopers, do loops with my Crooked Bastards excerpts and receive an autographed copy of my book, The Answer to Cancer, A Simple Solution for the Western Condition. Bloggers, post your opinion of this epic disaster and tag me in it and we'll respond in kind and send you an autographed book. You twits on Twitter, share your thoughts and tag a video to stir the broader friends and followers you have. It is time to take back the nation from parasitic politicians. Feel free to demonstrate your IQ below in the comments and engage others. As we move forward dismantling things opposed to your freedom, we look forward to collaboration opportunities with well-grounded podcasters and power media players. Podcasters, I will reveal fresh, hot evidence in any and every podcast interview if you have me on your show. Also, I will facilitate your efforts to more than double your subscriber base. Fighters for justice must come together. Pray for this effort. The criminal operation being exposed is real. They oppose a national and internet. They pose a national and international threat through widespread systematic abuses of civil and human rights. A massive human trafficking effort underlies this enterprise. If you have the ability to notify the FBI or the DOJ, Department of Justice, please do so. There's a massive cover-up at the Florida governor's office, it seems. This type of color of law scheme in federal judiciary and related entities is a kind of government corruption harming our nation. The citizens have no means to correct it, and the attorneys are complicit with the schemes because they will not risk their career to save an individual case. Massive failures in the fiduciaries and oaths of office exist. Corruption in law enforcement is rampant with no oversight. At the time of launch, this effort is largely founded and funded by book sales. About the time the federal, state, and local government were revealed as unlawfully targeting and drastically violating my human and civil rights, I was launching a series of self-help books, including this one, CO2 and You, A Release from All Sickness. Thereafter, the governments of the world implemented a system to make you wear things to cover your face, which can lead to CO2 accumulation in your breathe there, thus initiating a series of health issues leading to a host of issues explored in this book. Get the Fix, presently on Amazon. CO2 and You, A Release from All Sickness by Ted Whidden and Doc Mathia. Link to the purchase is in the description. Watch and pray about retaliation. High-level corruption in law enforcement is protected through retaliation, framing, extortion, and a host of crimes by law enforcement against citizens as acts of intimidation. Further, those who push unconstitutional concept of proactive patrolling encourages law enforcement to violate your civil rights on the hunch of poorly trained law enforcement. It masks corrupt behavior as a scheme. This is government racketeering. The westr crimes are examples of what can occur through proactive policing. The governor and anyone pushing this agenda appear at war and in violation of the United States Constitution. Corruption at the federal judge level already impedes your civil rights, yet you will not become aware until you need them, and it will be too late. Share this with your favorite attorney. Advise them by joining our efforts they could win. However, remind them that all who oppose me are in fact facilitating a $16 billion RICO, which each individual facilitator is responsible for in full. Watch the drama unfold as we move forward towards launching, towards launching an attorney referral system to address your civil rights issues. We are currently seeking rap music artists and animators or cartoonists for collaborative projects soon to be released. Subscribe and get ready for the rollout. Share this around the world before it can be taken down. If you post this to your social media, then place the link in the comments under the original video. We will reach out to you. Keep in mind, Mr. Whidden is not an attorney. Mr. Whidden is honest, and that may preclude the ability for him to practice law. Whidden has explored legal misdirection and corruption in federal, state, and local judiciary and law enforcement. It is seen as his obligation under USC Title 18, Section 4, misprision of felony, statutes to notify officials and to warn others. This method of notice is being tested because every lawful attempt to report has been met by officials who were and are corrupt in facilitating racketeering crimes of others. Mr. Whidden's mental faculties have been questioned by the state in their attempt to obscure their crimes. The federal government is complicit. See the link below. Publicly filed documents and notices have been obscured repetitively by Magistrate Michael J. Frank, Judge Margaret Casey Rogers, Clerk Jeremy Wright, Florida State's Attorney's Office, and others. See link below. Further to this, sheriffs in the region and other corrupt law enforcement began and continue targeting Whidden for pushing back against the color of law crimes against American citizens. See links below. It is with assurance crimes are widespread and patternistic. If Michael J. Franks is involved, it appears from my perspective there's a crime afoot. See link to impeachment below. Keep in mind, even lawful actions to further interrupt, obstruct, or conceal a person's First Amendment rights to expose a RICO or racketeering crime can result in charges for the RICO or racketeering crime. They're all complicit. There are links under our originally posted video that should serve you well. The best is yet to come.